Welcome back, everybody. We're just in time for What's Hot. This is where we talk about the stories that have everybody talking.
We're joined by Barb Bartlein from the People Pro Plus, and Jeff Wagner is back. Here we go. A New Jersey family is suing a school district. They're looking to have the phrase "under God" removed from the Pledge of Allegiance.
The family said "under God" discriminates against atheists. The school district said it's just following state law. What are your thoughts on this?
This must be a pretty darn good school district, that this is the biggest thing that these parents are worried about. I guess that would be my starting point. Here's the bottom line. The school district has an opt-out clause. So the state law says you're supposed to participate in the pledge, but if you don't want to, you can opt out. That, to me, I think ends pretty much all of this. The kid can opt out. I just wonder whether it's the kid or whether it's the parents that are really driving this.
Well, exactly. And, you know, they talk in the suit about ostracizing and so on. A real good way to draw attention to their kid, even though it's supposedly anonymous, is to go about suing the school system. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows who it is. But I got to be honest, Jeff, I'm surprised this doesn't come up more often. You know, we have "In God We Trust" on the money. We have God mentioned in a number of things. I'm surprised there isn't more pushback from some of the groups that don't want to go in that direction.
Well, yeah, and matter of fact, there's some litigation on exactly that issue, that whole "In God We Trust." In Wisconsin, for example, they're making, in the very near future, you can pay extra to get on your license plate one of those specialty plates that says "In God We Trust." The Freedom from Religion Foundation is all bent out of shape over that. But again, it's one of these things where our currency says "In God We Trust." So, I mean, I think there's a lot of these battles that are out there. And what I don't get, Barb, is why they try to pick some of these fights. Why are you picking this fight, for example, about the Pledge of Allegiance? It would seem to me that there might be other fights out there that you might be more likely to win. Well,
and that might be more appropriate to put all the energy and the time and the money into. I totally agree. This is kind of ludicrous in many ways. And like I say, I think the other kids will find out and they'll make fun of this kid.
All right, coming up next, we reveal the viewer's choice topic of the day.
And Brian Goddard is back with another look at your cooler forecast. Now more of What's Hot and our viewer's choice topic of the day.
Again, we're joined by the People Pro, Barb Bartlein, and the radio guy, Jeff Wagner from 620 WTMJ. The viewer's choice topic today: a former Supreme Court justice wants to change the U.S. Constitution. One of his suggested changes: only a state's militia, not the citizens, have the right to bear arms. Former Justice John Paul Stevens says he wants to reduce gun violence, abolish the death penalty, to name a few. So does the Constitution need some changes?
What do you say, Jeff? I think, you know, Jeff and I love to discuss the Second Amendment. I think it's time to many scholars say, clarify the Second Amendment. There's many scholars that say that was the intent of the Second Amendment in the first place, that it was the state's militia that could bear arms. Not every Tom, Dick, and Harry who had a few beers could grab a gun and go out and shoot who they want. I think it's time to look at it. We literally have a carnage in our country. A good example is Chicago last weekend. It's terrible. We've got shootings in schools, shootings in churches, shootings in theaters. It's time for a change.
I want to take the broader picture. I've always said that aging retired Supreme Court justices should be seen and not heard. It's sort of interesting because Justice Stevens, you can tell that this is this sort of uber-liberal stuff coming out. It's not just the Second Amendment. He had a wide variety of pretty much the ultra-liberal wish list, and you know the United States Constitution just happens to be one of these pesky things that's getting in the way with regard to all issues from the Second Amendment to campaign finance reform to affirmative action to this or that or the other thing. I think the Constitution is an evolving document. I don't know that you need constitutional amendments to things. I just think you need common sense interpretations, and we can always talk about the Second Amendment and what it really means.
I mean, because the first 4 words of the Second Amendment are a well-regulated militia.
Right, right.
I mean, is that what he's talking about, Jeff? That those first 4 words carry some weight?
Well, no, I think that the justice, and I would hate to put words in his mouth, I think he has significant issues with the right to the private people to have firearms, and so you know that's the question.
Okay, lightning round now.
Your Facebook friends can now know where you are at all times. Yep, the social media site launched a new feature called Nearby Friends. It keeps tabs of where you and your friends are. Of course, it is optional, but would you want your friends to know where you are even when you're not making it public?
This is why Jeff isn't on Facebook.
Well, except, you know, through the last darn thing I want in the world is people, friends or otherwise, knowing where I am at a particular time. If I want to go out for a beer with Barb, okay, I'll just text her, Barb, can you meet me here? And I don't want her knowing where I am, and she probably doesn't want to know where I am.
Well, you know, Jeff, let me take the broad view on this one. I think there's lots of information being gathered about all of us that we're not even aware of. From those cards that we swipe at Walgreens to swiping a Panera Bread, whatever, they're gathering information. They gather information about our spending habits off our credit cards, then that information is sold and we're marketed. I do agree with you. I don't want to give more access to where I am. They can already track me on my iPhone.
Well, yeah, because that's, I mean, you make a really good point, because that's the question. Okay, then you can go back and you can say, okay, well, we know that Steve Chamraz was sitting in, you know, Frankie's bar for 4.5 hours, you know, on Thursday night. What was he in fact doing there, right? That's the thing, and you go, wait, where's my sense of privacy? No, there's all sorts of scary things about this.
I was there for 4.5 hours because the game went into overtime.
Sure, that's what they all say.
I apologize for singling you out for that. I'm sorry.
All right, the What's Hot discussion will continue online. Find that page at tmj4.com/hot.